Whenever the name Michael Self pops up, a lot of race fans, I guarantee y'all are thinking about the Sinclair cars with the green dinosaur, as I like to call it, Green Dinoco. Also, Michael Self was one of those drivers in the current state of ARCA that was talented in a race when he contended with a loyal sponsor. On the 64th episode of Racing Stories, we are going to be going over the ARCA career of Michael Self. With that being said, let's begin. But before we get to his ARCA career, let's go over what he has done before he raced in ARCA. Michael Self was born on November 1st, 1990 in Park City, Utah. Michael Self got into racing as a kid thanks to his dad, who grew up in the South and was a huge NASCAR fan, and who was also good friends with the Allison brothers and Davey Allison, which Michael got bitten by the racing bug. When Michael was 9, he saw some people driving by with go-karts on a trailer and flagged them down to see what they were doing at a go-kart track in Linden, Utah. Michael's dad asked him if he was interested in racing go-karts, and of course, 9-year-old Michael said yes. Michael would finally go racing a go-kart the next summer at Wasatch Race Park when he was 10 years old, earning multiple wins and championships in the karting ranks. Before setting foot in stock cars, Michael Self was set foot into open wheels to race in the Skip Barber Racing Series, winning his first ever race at Miller, winning the 2006 Skip Barber Miller Motorsports Park in the West Regional Junior Rotax Championship, and would also win the 2008 Las Vegas Motor Speedway Regional Championship. After passing down the opportunity to have the Mazda scholarship money to further his racing career on open wheels, Michael Self would make the move to the stock car world with funding from his family and started racing in the late models at the age of 18. Between 2009 to 2012, Michael Self raced in the United States Late Model Association for one race, finishing in the top 10. Westcar Late Model Series for 9 races out of 15 for the 2009 season, finishing with a top 5 in 5 top 10s, and a Gene Price Motorsports Late Model River Series in 2012 and scored 2 top 5s and 10s. Michael Self would also race in the NASCAR Canadian Pro Series for 2 races in 2009. It would race full-time from 2010 to 2013, scoring 6 wins. The best points finished 4th in 2012. It was accepted to the NASCAR Next class of 2013 to 2014. Unfortunately, the funds would run out around 2013, ending his West Series stint. Thankfully, the wait for an opportunity would not be long. Red Trini Motorsports would hire Michael Self to race in the number 66 Toyota Camry with rental coil springs / the Mosquito Patch as a sponsor to make his ARCA Racing Series debut at the Mobile International Speedway in Alabama. Michael Self tested at the track the Monday before the race. The 2014 Mobile 200 was the second race of the 2014 ARCA Racing Series season, and Michael was racing with heavy hearts. In December 2013, Michael Self would unfortunately lose his grandmother. In honor of his grandmother, he would have a tribute sticker on his car in her honor. Michael Self would start in 9th place but would DNF after 189 laps due to transmission issues. Michael Self's next race would be at the New Jersey Motorsports Park for the Great Rally 125, starting in 22nd but would sadly finish there after 3 laps due to handling problems. After his 2014 stints with Veterini Motorsports, Michael Self had no ride for the 2015 ARCA Racing Series season. It was spotted for J.J. Haley from 2015 to 2016. Despite not having a ride at ARCA for 2015, Michael Self would race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for JD Motorsports with Gary Keller, making his debut at the second annual race, replacing Landon Castle. Sadly, he would DNF due to a crash after running 179 laps. Then he would have transmission issues at Watkins Glen. Then thankfully he would finish 3 races at Mid-Ohio, Road America, and Chicagoland. Unfortunately, he would crash out the second Kentucky race on lap 27 after getting loose exiting turn 2 and crashing into the backstretch. Running 20th at the time, it would DNF again at Kansas after running 95 laps due to engine issues. After Kansas, Michael Self would not only run another Xfinity Series race, but he would also never run another NASCAR race. After his short-lived NASCAR stints, Michael Self would continue to be in the spotter role until Rainer Racing with MDM would hire him to race in the 2016 season finale at Kansas, racing in a number 28 car with Sinclair Oil Corporation as a sponsor for the race. Thankfully for Michael, he would finally show his true skill and what he was made of in the ARCA Racing Series. Finishing at 3rd, Michael's Kansas race was so impressive, Sinclair would stick around to sponsor him in 2017, sponsoring him for 6 ARCA races and 2 NASCAR West races, while he was back in the West Series full-time in 2017. In Daytona, Michael Self would start in 8th, but he would be involved in the second big one on the back straightaway, which took place with 15 laps to go. finishing in 27th. Despite the disappointing end to the Daytona race, Michael Self would return to the number 28 car for the Pocono race. It would have an impressive third-place finish at the Tricky Triangle. In Iowa, Michael Self would chase the number 25 of Spencer Davis on the 19th lap, but going on the inside of Davis, Michael Self would come up on Davis and would spin out in turn 3. Thankfully, Michael Self would continue to compete on track and would recover to finish in 4th place after leading 33 laps. In IRP, Michael Self would lead some parts of the closing laps of the race with a shot of getting his first ever career ARCA win, but caution would come out for rain. Michael Self would have to have a good restart to win the race in a 13-lap shootout. Michael was racing against Austin Terrio, Sheldon Creed, Zane Smith, and Gus Dean. However, a fast-charging Dalton Sargent was chasing after the green Dinosaur while the race was thundering and lightning. Michael was holding on for dear life to get his first ever ARCA Racing Series win, but Dalton Sargent would get around him with 7 laps to go, and Sargent would win the race while Michael Self would come home with 2nd place. In Chicagoland, racing for Mason Mitchell's team, Michael Self would be in the same spot just like Indianapolis Raceway Park. He was leading 29 laps, but while leading the race with 8 laps to go, Michael Self would have a right front tire down and hit the outside wall in turn 3, ending his race another chance to capture his first career win, finishing in 19th. Luckily for Michael Self, he would have one more shot to get the victory. The next race was at the Kansas race for the 2017 ARCA season finale, the same track he made his ARCA racing return the year prior, returning to the number 28 MDM Motorsports car. Michael started in P8, while racing against Justin Haley for the top 5. Caution would come out for Ed Pompa crashing on the outside wall in turns 3 and 4. The money stop was underway, and Michael Self and the leaders would pit for the last time, except for Sheldon Creed with 13 laps to go. Chad Finley would beat Michael Self off of pit road. Now, the 9-lap shootout for the win was underway.
At the line, 9 to go in this race and in the season. Several with a legitimate chance at their first career win. Everyone wants to take momentum into the final. Finley from the outside. Creed is slow to get going. Lead down on the bottom. Finley getting a little push. They are 5 wide.
Wow, what a restart.
Still not decided yet.
What a save underneath Michael
And it's
Self.
Michael Self to the front looking for his first win.
How about Majeski here in a side-by-side battle for second? The 99 on the inside, Chad Finley on the outside.
And you can throw a blanket over the top 9 in this series right now. How exciting is that?
Watch out for Dalton Sargent in the 77. Here he comes running in 4th right now. And he's cleared the last lap car that he's going to see for a while. 1 lap to go in 2017. Michael Self trying to get to victory lane for the first time in ARCA. Ty Majeski has never won in the series. He's trying to pedal and catch back up.
It looks like all Michael Self needed was an opportunity to see the lead, and now he's done a great job holding off one of the fastest cars all weekend, bringing it through 3 and 4 for the last time.
He's been so close so many times. Michael Self, the 26-year-old from Utah, is going to make it happen in the finale in 2017. Michael Self is a winner in the ARCA Racing Series.
What a great finish. What a great restart.
MDM Motorsports wins at Kansas. Michael Self gets it done. What a story. A first-time winner again in the ARCA Racing Series. Michael Self climbs out to celebrate here at Kansas. And Heather DeBow is there to greet him.
Michael Self with another win. First time here in the ARCA Series, getting some hugs from his team. This means a lot to him to also have Sinclair on the car. Michael, victory lane once again. 3 races in a row, even though 2 of those were in the K&N Series, but you've been fighting your car all day. It kind of was all over the place, as your crew chief Marty Lindy said. How tough was that race to keep that car up front?
Well, probably the hardest ARCA race I've ever run right there. I mean, we fought all day. We just couldn't get balance in the 28 Sinclair Chevy. I mean, one time we were loose and we were tight and then loose again, and started off wicked loose, fell way back, and Marty Lindley and these 28 Sinclair guys just kept making changes and kept believing in me and just kept fighting strong, and that's what these guys do. I mean, we should have won Lucas Oil earlier this year that way, and we finally got this one tonight. I mean, it's just been so much hard work in the ARCA Series this year. It's been insane. I mean, every time we've driven this Sinclair car here, we've been fast. We've had a shot to win. We had a 3-second lead at Chicago, blew right front, and to everyone that's been a part of this year, especially Sinclair Oil, everyone back home in Salt Lake City, my amazing wife, Dana, my dad, Mike, all these guys at MDM Motorsports, everyone at Mason Mitchell Motorsports who let me drive their car this year and had good runs there. I can't thank everyone enough. And in the season like this, we got one more K&N race to go, and if we can go make it 4 in a row, that'd be unbelievable.
We have to go back to that final restart. You guys were 5 wide at one point. What did you see from your seat, and how nerve-wracking was it?
I saw a little bit of clean air, and I was about to give that up. I mean, I knew it was going to get hairy, and I got kind of bounced around the middle there a little bit, and I just kept my foot in it. Just stayed rooted to the floor and just kind of trusted that the car was going to cut and roll through there, and it did. And when I came out clear, I mean, I think that was the first time I've actually yelled out loud in my helmet to myself about how fast I needed to go and how bad I wanted to win. And so once we got the clean air, I mean, the 99, he put on a ton of pressure there, and it was just all about hitting the marks. My spotter, Derek Nealand, helped me a massive amount today. He's helped me so much all year and helped us with this Sinclair program, giving me the ability to drive the car fast and get better and better every race. And that's what he did tonight, and he helped guide me to that win. So it was pretty awesome. Congratulations.
We'll send it over to Jim with 2nd place.
After Sheldon Creed had a bad restart and a tire going down and a 5-wide battle for the lead and positions and pulling off the brave and exciting move, Michael Self would finally get his first ever ARCA victory at Kansas. Michael's 2017 ARCA part-time season was full of triumph and misfortunes, but it finally paid off on the night of October 20th, 2017 at Kansas. 2018 would be more good news from Michael's ARCA career. Michael Self would return to VeteranE Motorsports with Sinclair, returning as a sponsor for 10 races for 2018 for the 2018 ARCA Racing Series season. Not a full-time season yet, but he was moving on up in ARCA. That's for sure. Michael Self would kick off his 10-race stint at Daytona. Starting at 13th, Michael would keep his nose clean. Michael Self was in 11th with 8 laps to go, but then a late race caution happened for Tony Mrakovic slowing down. Luckily, Michael Self would avoid Tony Mrakovic in turn 2. After that caution, the green flag and that dumb white flag caution equals a green flag finish. The never-ending crash fest for the finish took place. On the first white flag, a big one took place on the backstretch, which made Brett Holmes on his side. After a long cleanup, the first green-white checker took place. Then, they crashed again in turns 3 and 4, involving the top 4s and more cars being involved. Luckily for Michael Self, he avoided the crash, leading the race. Another attempt to finish the race took place, and it was the final attempt. Michael Self would have to make the best of it at the World Center of Racing.
One more time to decide the season opener from Daytona in ARCA, and it's a great jump from Michael Self back to the front.
Let's see if Tom Hessert can clear Willie Mullins now. Here comes Natalie Decker. She's pulling up in the back bumper of Willie Mullins. Outside line has a little bit of energy now. There's Tolman in the 78. He's now trying to decide whether he's going inside or outside.
And we know Max Tolman is fast. He was fast early.
25 is going to line up behind Hessert here.
And Self is all by himself. He has no help going down the backstretch. Half a lap to go. Does Michael Self have a big enough cushion? Mullins and Hessert for second, with Decker trying to push Hessert to see if they can catch Michael Self as they head to turn number 4. Michael Self has a cushion. Headed down through the tri-oval. Michael Self is going to win at Daytona. Win number 2, and it's at the biggest stock car race in the ARCA series.
Look at the excitement down on pit road.
Kevin Reed, a winner again at Daytona. And VeteranE Motorsports celebrates at the World Center of Racing.
And the hugs continue here. VeteranE Motorsports won here in 2013 for the first time. And Billy Venturini here in the gray shirt oversees the day-to-day operations. Michael Self in disbelief here in Victory Lane with his Sinclair Toyota. He said, I want to win races, and I want to do it with Venturini. Last year he won with MDM Motorsports and raced with Mason Mitchell Motorsports. He also won races in the NASCAR West Series, but this, no doubt, has to be one of the biggest victories for Utah's Michael Self as he climbs from the car in Gatorade Victory Lane at Daytona. What a way to start the season. Here he is, Michael Self, the winner at Daytona. It seemed like an eternity during that red flag, but look at that emotion. Michael, how did you do it?
What?
How'd you do it?
Survived, man. Just survived. Got lucky, made it through a couple wrecks. Just took this number 15 Sinclair Oil Toyota to just overcame a lot. This thing is rough. This thing's been beat up, but Kevin, Billy, these guys, Mike Herman Jr., just guided me, man. They just told me every single thing that I needed to do. I mean, they drove this car from the outside. I made mistakes. They helped me overcome them, and now we're here. Thanks to everyone. Big Bill Venturini.
We got to say thank you, Michael. Here comes the kiss from Papa Bill. Congratulations, Michael Self, a winner here at Daytona to start the season.
After avoiding Tony Mrakovic and avoiding 2 big crashes on 2 final laps, Michael Self would not only win his 2nd straight ARCA win, but he would also win at Daytona. Daytona, the biggest ARCA race of the season on the biggest track in stock cars. Well, one of the biggest, actually. After the Daytona win, he would have a 4th place finish in Nashville and a 3rd place finish at Talladega. Charlotte was not a good day for the Green Dinosaur machine. During his 2nd qualifying lap, Michael Self would get sideways to crash in turn 4. On race night, he would DNF, finishing 21st due to handling problems. Michigan would be a much better race for him by finishing 3rd after leading 22 laps. His next race would be at Chicagoland, the same race he was close to getting his first ARCA win, but lost it due to a tire down. He was looking for a redemption in the Windy City. Michael Self would dominate the race. However, Todd Gilliland would take the lead away from Michael on lap 69. Nice. During the closing laps of the race, Michael Self was in 2nd while Todd Gilliland was leading. Caution would come out with 6 laps to go when Leilani Munter would spin out. On the final restart, Michael Self would restart in 3rd. Once again, he would pull an exciting move with the restart.
2 to go, restarting in ARCA from Chicagoland, and Michael Self rockets down to the bottom, to the front, Sheldon Creed coming with him, Zane Smith taking a look, Gilliland still on the high side battling for 2nd.
Michael Self actually made the pass before they got to the start-finish line, but Riley Herbst really spun the tires badly, so ARCA may look at that and say, hey, he had no choice.
And Riley Herbst has fallen all the way back to 5th. Gilliland is still coming. Creed is right there on his bumper, gets him a little bit loose. Creed going low for 2nd. Smith splits them 3 wide. All the while, Self continues to gap the advantage.
Those 2 tires are no match for the 4 tires.
Inside.
Ooh.
The final few turns, Herbst banging with Robaugh.
Herbst is doing all he can do to minimize the loss.
Final couple of turns. Does anyone have anything for Michael Self? Sheldon Creed is going to try it. Down below the line, to the line. Michael Self has won at Chicagoland for the 2nd time in 2018, and they're crashing behind him. Decker and Graff will roll past the line. Self wins by just over a 1/10 of a second on Sheldon Creed.
After dominating the race and making an exciting move for the lead, Michael Self would redeem and win at Chicagoland, scoring his 3rd career victory. For the following 3 races he's done, short tracks were not kind to Michael Self. In Iowa, Michael Self and Riley Herbst connected, wrecking Herbst. Later in the race on lap 81, Michael Self would go high in turn 4 and entering the travel, it would spin out. Michael Self would have finished in 18th after DNFing. Salem would be one of those short track Saturday night races for Michael Self. Michael Self would spin out Zane Smith, and Smith kissed the inside wall in the backstretch. Later in the race, Zane Smith would take out Michael Self as payback, and there would be some scuffles between the 55 and the 41 team. After the race, Zane Smith was parked and fined $1,000 for intentionally wrecking Michael Self. Michael Self would finish in 16th at the Salem throwback race. He would finish 11th at the IRP. Thankfully, Michael Self would finish his 10-race stint in a much-needed 3rd place finish at Kansas to end the season. Well, besides having 2 moments with him and Drew Herring and teammate Natalie Decker, he still brought the car back in P3 at Kansas. In 2018, Michael Self would score 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 1 pole, and an average finish of 8.1. After a successful part-time season in 2018, Michael Self would finally go full-time and race in ARCA for the 2019 season, racing for Venturini Motorsports, and Sinclair returning as a full-time sponsor. After racing in ARCA part-time since 2014, Michael Self would finally race for a championship. 2019 would kick off at Daytona as the season opener. Michael Self was coming into this race looking to go back-to-back in victory lane at the World Center of Racing. Instead, we got to see a Dinosaur flying. On the third lap of the race, Michael Self would get some help from Willie Mullins, ironically the same driver who finished second to Michael Self the year prior, and gave him too much of a push, spinning out the number 25, and Michael would go airborne while Willie Mullins spun. Luckily for Michael Self, he would continue to race despite finishing in 31st. Thankfully, his second trip to Florida was a much better race. Michael Self would start in second for the Pensacola 200. Michael Self would be the second driver to lead the most laps of the race by leading 68 laps. While Ty Gibbs and Christian Eckes were battling for second place, Michael Self would get his first win of the 2019 ARCA Series season, moving up to 5th place in points, leaving Florida. But after the race, Michael Self would get docked 25 points due to a rear spoiler or height infraction. On the bright side, Michael Self would go back-to-back winning at Salem, moving up second in points, 5 points behind Travis Braden. Not long after, Michael Self would take the point lead away after finishing 5th at Talladega, while Travis Braden finished at 14th. After a successful 3-race stretch with 2 wins and a 5th place finish and taking a point lead, Nashville would be a championship implications due to a dumb moment.
Hayden Honeycutt running that car hard here, but it's been all Chandler Smith in this one so far. 72 laps complete. Under caution here at Fairground Speedway Nashville for the ARCA Series in a developing situation. We have been told that Tommy Vi with this number 10 car made some contact with the point leader, Michael Self, up in the corner to bring out this caution. Brett Holmes on pit road in that 23 machine. Here's what happened of what we had, and this is right after the contact between Tommy Vi as well as Michael Self. But Jim Trado, you can see all sorts of damage to the front end of that machine, and that's why Brett Holmes was on pit road. He made some contact with the Sinclair 25 as well.
Unfortunately, one of those incidents where you can't react quick enough, and what Michael Self ended up doing was hitting the wall with great impact and then sliding down the banking in turn number 2, dropping on their team communication thanks to Racing Electronics. They may indeed want to get that car back out. Every point counts. Self may not be done just yet, even with that extensive damage.
Yet frustration from Michael Self, the point leader, by just 5 markers over Travis Braden. Here is Michael Self saying to Tommy Vi, in his opinion, use your head, buddy. Michael Self definitely devastated here today.
Short track emotion, running top 5, gained a spot or 2 on pit road during their first and only pit stop, and now they're going to hopefully get that car back righted. But Michael Self's going to be way down in the order, trying to climb his way back up, as he did on the run to Daytona for finishing 31st and rebounding to grab that point lead.
Michael Self currently out of the race after major contact up in turns 1 and 2. Dave Reef is standing by.
Well, you want to talk about a roller coaster of emotions. This is a man that's gone through it, from the Daytona disappointment, bouncing back on the short tracks at Pensacola, as well as Salem, and now taking the points lead. And now this. I know there are no words, but what can you say about the incident?
Nothing. I mean, it's the product of what you're racing around sometimes, man. I mean, young kids, they get impatient, and I've been that way. I've gotten impatient too, but there's no reason for the 18 to turn the 10 like that. I mean, just run him into the corner and turn him. The guy's a laps down. You're going to go by him easily. You know, maybe he didn't race the way you like. Just show some patience. I mean, Ty's a good driver. The 10, he's out there just running laps. Just wish you'd show a little patience, because we're the negative recipient of it. You know, they're out there still racing, running third, and we're the points leader. We're definitely not anymore. So you come in here and have a tore-up race car. You know, I hate it for Venturini. For Sinclair, I mean, we had a good car. You know, we were struggling a little bit, but making gains on it. So this sucks. Sucks to rebound from Daytona, win some races, put yourself back in a good position. And now you just got to go climb out of another hole.
Good luck.
Due to MAP TV going to commercial and the coverage missing the actual incident, I would have to explain what happened. So Ty Gibbs was attempting to pass Tommy Vi Jr., but got into Vi, and Vi spun out on the outside of Michael Self's windshield, going to turn 2, plowing into Vi. After the crash, Michael Self's car would drive up to the track, and Brett Holmes would only get his car scraped. But due to the incident, Michael Self would lose the point lead, 30 points behind Travis Braden. For the next 3 races, Michael Self would finish 4th in the Stoke Toledo Speedway, taking back the point lead after Travis Braden crashed in turn 2, finishing in 13th. In Charlotte, Michael Self was leading the race, looking for his third win of the season, but he would hit a bump and would spin in turn 1 while his rear end goes up high into the wall. After Riley Herbst crashed with 3 laps to go, Michael Self, who was running 11th at the time and was smoking, would restart in 10th, but then on the final lap, caution would be out for Cody Rothbard running into the back of Travis Braden as Michael Self avoided another disaster. After the final attempt to finish the race, Michael Self would finish in 5th, a heartbreaking top 5 finish after dominating the race by leading 91 laps. On the bright side, Michael Self would extend his point lead by 60 points ahead of Brett Holmes and Travis Braden, while 55 points coming to the first Pocono race, who were tied for second. Michael Self was running 9th before pitting with 6 laps to go, but would have to pit due to continuously dealing with fuel pressure issues, finishing 11th, shrinking the point lead by 30 points ahead of Brett Holmes. Michigan would be a dominant race for Michael Self. However, he would pit for fuel to make it to the finish. Ty Majeski would take the lead away. It was a few mileage run to the finish, and Ty Majeski would have to save fuel to win the race while Michael Self was chasing the number 22.
The Magic Man, though, nice and smooth through 3.
Oh, he's out again. He's out of fuel. Here comes Michael Self, and off of turn number 4. Michael Self will win the ARCA Menard Series Michigan 200.
What a finish.
A fuel strategy that almost played out for Paul Andrews.
That's Paul right there. Paul said it was worth a try. Man, they were, a straightaway away from winning that race. What a great strategy. Just came up just a tick short, but what a great job by Shannon Rush. That's Shannon right there, top of your screen, being congratulated by all his crew guys.
After playing the fuel economy right, Michael Self would steal the victory away from Ty Majeski after dominating the race by leading 86 laps. It would leave the Irish Hills 70 points ahead of Brett Holmes. However, the 25 team would once again get penalized due to failing post-race inspections for an illegal body modification, costing him 50 points. In Madison, Michael Self would finish second. It would hang on to the point lead by 35 points. And just like that, the first half of the 2019 ARCA Menard Series season was completed. Michael Self had a triumphant first half of the season. Despite some bad races like Daytona and Nashville, Michael Self has been consistent while racing against Brett Holmes and even Travis Braden. What Michael Self did not know coming to the second half of the ARCA season was to watch out for Christian Eckes, his Veterini Motorsports teammate who was in number 15 despite missing Salem due to an illness and crashing out Talladega. He was slowly climbing up the ranks and silently catching up to Michael Self coming into Gateway. And speaking of Gateway, there were some championship implications. Brett Holmes, while being 2 laps down, spun out and crashed, damaging his rear bumper, thankfully repairing it. As for Michael Self was fighting a tight loose car, but still ran clean despite not being in contention to win. However, championship implications would also happen to Michael Self. Michael Self would DNF due to a broken axle, finishing in 13th, still hanging on to the point by 30. For the next 6 races, Michael Self would have 3 4th-place finishes, 3rd-place finishes, and would even win at Springfield. As for Christian Eckes, besides finishing 7th at Chicagoland and finishing 11th at Elko after spinning it in turn 4 thanks to his teammate Michael Self sending it in turn 3 coming to the checkers, Christian Eckes would have a consistent finishes of 2nd and winning at Pocono, which would finally get him to 2nd in points despite being 75 points behind Michael Self, in a win at DuQuoin, which helped him gain 35 points behind Michael Self. However, coming to the Salem Throwback Weekend race with a 70-point lead, championships would be implicated for Michael Self.
A dramatic turn of events for series points leader Michael Self. He is in the infield. He relinquishes the 3rd place position on the racetrack. They pulled the hood up on the race car and they said, take it to the infield. So now Shannon Rush and that team looking at that race car. Here's the replay of what happened when they came to pit road, Jim.
It was a sudden jerk to the wheel to the left of pit road for Michael Self. As they came to a pit stop, the team is starting to tell his crew chief, there's something wrong under the hood. We can't fix it here. We can't fix it here. They have a crash cart. You see, they have an entire setup in the figure 8 area for this team, whether it be a Veterini car that's Gavin Harlan's or Michael Self's. They've got a whole area working just for their cars in the pit area. So they brought extra equipment in the infield to help in circumstances that, boy, this is a huge circumstance to try to overcome.
And this is exactly what we talked about at the top of the show. Michael Self, that 70-point lead over Christian Eckes. Christian Eckes, who runs very strong here at Salem Speedway, now currently running in the 3rd spot. He stands to gain a lot of ground, honestly, in this championship equation. Now with 2 races to go after this one, Let's go down to Alex.
Well, guys, standing here looking up underneath the left front wheel well where they're working on the point leader Michael Self's car, there's definitely a piece of, it looks like a broken suspension. Not exactly sure which part of it, but it is hanging straight down. That's not good. I'm not a mechanic, but I can tell you that is no good on a race car. So they're going to work feverishly down here trying to get that taken care of.
All right, come up.
And I thought I saw something interesting by the right front of that race car. If we pan down a little bit to the right front, honestly, I thought I saw some fluid down there as well in the above shot, right by the right front tire. So you
definitely fluid there, Bob.
You see some fluid there.
Talking about it, so I told you.
So let's take a look at what that is. Not exactly sure what that is right there, but you definitely see some fluid, some overheating, I believe, from the 25 car. So definitely a problem for the point leader as we're getting set to go back to green flag racing here at Salem Speedway. What's going on with the 25, Alex?
I've just found out the lower A-frame, part of the suspension that helps this race car get around this very bumpy Salem Speedway, the lower A-frame bolt came out of it. The A-frame itself is intact. They just lost the bolt out of it. Now they're trying to figure out how they can get that back in there, because with that lower A-frame dragging the asphalt, that really ground it down and having a hard time getting the new bolt in there.
And this team, Michael Self, they're not done yet. This is a big blow, but I think they will have an answer come Lucas Oil Raceway on October 5th and our finale at Kansas.
It looks like they are ready to close the hood. Indeed, they are on that Sinclair machine. Let's go down to Alex.
Yeah, the hood's just about to go down. Michael Self left the window net up the entire time. Never took the helmet off, never took the gloves off. They're going to jack it up on the left side one more time just to make sure the shock is back in place, make sure the spring is back in place. Then they expect to put the car down, close the hood, and get him back out there and salvage whatever they can possibly salvage.
Well, Alex, we know that honestly, with Tim Richmond being out, if Michael Self is able to complete some laps, he will pick up at least one spot and move up from 15th to 14th. That's 5 points. Those 5 points could be very valuable in this championship quest. And here comes Michael Self back out onto the racetrack. This is critical in the battle for the championship.
One question I had to Alex was, would they have changed tires before coming back out, knowing how critical those tires are? That's not an option right now. The crew members are still behind the wall. Change those tires, they lose more spots on pit road, more time. They can't afford to lose any of that, so they're coming back out on the tires they had on the car. We'll see as the scoring refreshes how many 66 laps unofficially down now is Michael Self to our race leader, Ty Gibbs.
During one of the cautions, Michael Self would suffer a broken suspension, which made the 25 team go behind the wheel and get it repaired, finishing 14th while Christian Eckes finished in second, 5 points behind Michael Self coming to the Indy Raceway Park. After a rain-shortened end to the Indianapolis race, Michael Self would finish in 6th, but would lose the point lead to Christian Eckes after Eckes finished second. Now, the championship was on, a 20-point battle to win a championship. Michael Self would dominate the race by leading the first 57 laps of the race, and even collected 10 bonus points for leading the opening lap of the race. But then the caution would be out for the numbers 06 of Tim Richmond spinning in turns 1 and 2. Michael would lead the field back underway while Christian Eckes restarted next to him. Both teammates would race side by side until Michael Self checked up by the bottom of turn 3, which meant Christian Eckes would take the lead away from Michael Self. Unfortunately for Michael Self would never get another caution. He would slowly gain on the leader Christian Eckes on the closing laps of the race, but Michael Self would hit the wall on the final lap in turn 4, and it was over. Christian Eckes would win the 2019 ARCA Menard Series Championship, and Michael Self would be the bridesmaid of the 2019 season by 25 points. If I were to describe Michael Self's 2019 season in 3 words, it would be what could have been. What if he never got those post-race penalties? What if he was more consistent? What if he stayed out of trouble more often? What if Christian Eckes had some more unlucky moments? Despite a heartbreaking loss to the championship, Michael Self's 2019 season was still a good one and showed he was a championship caliber driver. He would score 4 wins, 14 top 5s, 15 top 10s, 4 poles, and an average of 6.5. Due to a spectacular performance in 2019, Michael Self would return to Venturini Motorsports, and Sinclair would return to the sponsor while having Kevin Reed as a crew chief for the 2020 ARCA Menard Series season. Michael Self would kick off his 2020 ARCA Menard Series season on the pole at Daytona, leading the first 21 laps of the race, and would take the lead once again at the start of the second half of the race. Never look back. It would take over the world center of racing once again at Daytona.
The white flag is in hand, and it is an all-out dash to the finish line. Next flag that comes out
will determine the winner of the Lucas Oil 200 driven by General Tire.
Haley needs a little bit help from Drew Dollar, that 15 car, maybe to make a move on Michael Self.
Down to 3,600-foot backstretch. Cars remaining nose to tail. A breakaway pack of 6, the final 2 corners.
I'm not sure Drew's close enough to Haley to really give her much help to try to do something with Michael Self.
Here comes Michael Self. Will anybody compete with him? No. Michael Self wins for the 8th time. He has captured his 2nd Daytona 200. A repeat performance of Kevin Reed and this man from 2018. That Venturini Motorsports team really flexing their muscles once again. Their 4th win as a team, 3rd straight. They've won 7 of the last 9 races, Phil, dating back to the middle of last year, rather. And of course, that man took Christian Eckes to the championship.
And the celebration can now begin in victory lane as Michael Self climbs out. The entire Venturini team is here to give him that Gatorade shower for the 2nd time in his career. He gets to hug his crew chief, Kevin Reed, in celebration. You're a 2-time Daytona winner now, Michael. I know you want to get your family in here. Certainly an emotional moment when you think about ending the season the way you did last year, but coming back now as the first winner of the year, how sweet is this redemption?
This is amazing. Oh, man, to start this year off like this, technically to go back-to-back with Kevin Reed here at Daytona, this is unbelievable. Just to come and feel like this is our year of redemption and, to be back with Sinclair and Venturini here. It feels so good to start the year off like this, and it's just such a great day overall. I just can't give enough credit to all these guys right here. This guy right here, Billy, Big Bill, Kevin. What an amazing car. I mean, to have our cars finish 1 and 3, this is just unbelievable.
We talked earlier this weekend about refocusing yourself, getting your mind right, ready for the new challenge. How significant was that when you were behind the wheel today?
It's big. This place is a little bit different than everywhere else we go. There's a lot that's out of your control at this place, but to come out, and I think to have the car that we did where we could lead as many laps and where we could hold that lead out front and hold other cars off, it just gives you so much confidence and what I knew that these guys could already do, but it just makes you that much more excited for Phoenix and the next race that's coming ahead and to have a little bit of momentum.
I know the celebration's going to go. One more question. Big kiss right there from Big Bill. Certainly something to celebrate here tonight. Michael, you talked about having not only a good car, top speed-wise, but also having a stable car with the sun setting, the track changing, all the caution period. How important was that to the result?
Well, that's huge, and I tell a lot of the younger guys that come here frankly, sometimes that's more important than speed here. Especially when we got back, 7th, 8th place. We were back a little bit in the draft. A couple times, there's a lot of bump drafting going on, and you got to be able to hang on in that situation. So having a car that's stable, that you can handle whether you're out front or in the draft, that's what ends you here in victory lane in this car. A 2 for 2 in this car here at Daytona, so that's pretty cool. It's a good car.
I'm not going to interrupt any more celebration. Congratulations on winning at Daytona.
And just like 2018, Michael Self would win his 2nd ever Daytona 200 to kick off the 2020 season. At the first part of the Phoenix race, Michael Self would have a down and up kind of day. On a restart on lap 37, Michael Self would have an electrical issue, which stacked up the number 17W of Zane Smith, dropping back like a rock. Luckily, he did get his issue solved and continued to race. But things would get worse for Michael Self. On lap 52, while chasing Dawson Cram checked up on Michael Self, and Michael Self would get hit by Lawless Allen, spinning in turns 3 and 4. On the bright side, Michael Self would bounce back and would finish in 2nd behind teammate and race winner Chandler Smith. Next race was the 3rd race of the season at Talladega. Wait, then COVID happened. Shit.
Many months later.
Alright, now ARCA finally returned to the racetrack at Talladega Superspeedway for the first time since the Phoenix race of March 2020. And holy shit, this is one of the worst ARCA races I've ever seen. It was so bad, even Michael Self attempted to end his Talladega race early. Just kidding. So literally nothing happened to this race at all. Except when Michael Self, Drew Dollar, and Ryan Repko were working together to get around Riley Herbst. That almost worked, but by the time the leaders were getting to turn 3, the Venturini cars almost killed each other. But Michael Self would get the worst of it by spinning, but made one hell of a save, finishing 5th on ARCA's return from the COVID break. Despite the 5th place finish at Pocono, Michael Self would have some late race problems at the Indianapolis Raceway Park with 22 laps to go, suffering a flat left rear tire, finishing 8th. In Kentucky, with 36 laps to go, Michael Self would get loose on the bottom of turn 3, touches Ty Gibbs. Both drivers would make an amazing save in turns 3 and 4, which made some cars 5 wide on the tri-oval. Such an amazing and crazy moment in this race, and Ty Gibbs would hit Michael's rear bumper as payback. After all that craziness, Michael Self would finish in 3rd, while Ty Gibbs won the race. After Kentucky, Michael Self would still hang on to the point lead by 22 points since the season opener at Daytona. But look out for Brett Holmes. In Iowa, Michael Self was running in 4th before Scott Melton spun again on lap 98. Under caution, Michael Self would have another electrical problems. Despite coming back to finish in 6th, this would not help his point lead because his title rival Brett Holmes would finish in 3rd place. Adding insult to injury for Michael in a championship battle, Brett Holmes would get his first and only ARCA Menard Series win at the first Kansas race, while Michael Self finished in 6th, which shrunk his point lead by 9 ahead. From 2 Toledo races in Michigan, Michael Self would still hang on to the point lead. Thankfully, on to the next race at the Daytona road course, Michael Self not only get a much better points-paying day to run away from Brett Holmes, he would make a historical moment in Daytona by sweeping not only the ARCA Daytona 200, and also the Daytona road course.
Michael Self began the year with a victory at Daytona. Now on the road course, can he grab the victory? Dreams do come true for Michael Self. He loves road course racing, and he makes history here at Daytona. How about that? Michael Self is going to win here at Daytona. Just an incredible performance for the 25. He spoke about it this week when we sat down. He said if there's one race on the calendar that he had circled once it was announced was Daytona International Speedway. And then the bright lights of Daytona, Michael Self is a winner on the road course here in Florida.
Well, here he is. He is climbing out for the 2nd time in the same calendar year. He's in victory lane at Daytona International Speedway. I'll cheer for you. Nicely done, my man. So come on over. Let's talk a little bit about what was an eventful night. An eventful night which saw you and Ty Gibbs put on a whale of a battle.
Man, that was so much fun racing with him. I hope he had as much fun as I did there at the end of that first stage, because that's what rain racing on the road courses is supposed to be about, man. That was so much fun. Ty's a great kid. Obviously a great racer. I've had the chance to work with him a little bit on the road courses, but I got to give his coach a little bit of a hard time, Thomas Merrill, because you got to do a little better, guy, because I got him today. But man, what a fun day. We struggled in practice. Plug wires fell off. We didn't even make a practice lap today, but these guys gave me an awesome Sinclair Oil Toyota. It's so, man, this is such a big deal for me to come and to win on a road course. I mean, I've been telling people for years I'm a great road racer, and I've been backing it up with coaching guys, and a shout out to all my clients, Keith, Jim, Matt, Tom, Justin Haley. I mean, guys that I've worked with for a long time. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Man, this was so much fun. This is so cool to come win on a road course.
It was close quarters racing. Did you guys touch a couple times racing tight?
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's, like I said, I hope Ty had as much fun as I did, and if I finished 2nd, I would still say I had a blast. I mean, that's rain racing, man. I hope the people tuned in tonight on MAV TV and saw this, because that had to have been some fun racing to watch. We need more road courses, man, and that was awesome.
4 and 5 looked like it was trouble for you all night long. That car really wanted to kind of move around, trying to get back up onto that big tri-oval.
So, 3...
Or was that the way you were just driving it?
Yeah, a little bit of that's the way you're driving it. 3 was really slick. Entry, very, very wet. I mean, up until the very end there. And 5 was also slick, and it's just a lot of moving around when you're in the rain. And I always say rain's the great equalizer, right? I mean, it takes a lot of equipment out of it, and it's guys that are searching around and searching for grip. That's one thing I've always kind of prided myself in, and one thing I've always really put on my clients that they have to do. And that paid off tonight, man. That's so much fun.
You made some history tonight. 2 trophies from Daytona in the same year. Pretty bitchin'.
I'll take it, man. That's awesome.
After putting on an amazing battle for the win against Ty Gibbs, Michael Self would conquer the World Center of Racing and sweep both Daytona races. What's even better for Michael was that Brett Holmes finished in 8th, which helped Michael Self's point lead by 15 ahead coming into Gateway. The next race was at Gateway. Michael Self led the field down to the green and led the first 11 laps of the race until Ty Gibbs took the lead away and dominated the field. However, championship implications happened to Michael Self. While getting passed by Max McLaughlin, Michael Self would get loose on the outside and spin and hit the inside wall. Michael would finish the race, but would finish in 15th while Brett Holmes finished in 6th, 7 points behind Michael Self coming to I-44. I-44 would be full of championship implications for Michael and Brett. On lap 49, Michael Self and Ty Gibbs were bumper to bumper for 4th until Ty Gibbs sent it on the inside of Michael Self in turn 1, and Michael Self would spin out and save it, but would have left front damage. Later in the race, Brett Holmes and Hailie Deegan would race hard for the lead until Hailie Deegan went on the inside of Brett Holmes and Deegan would spin Holmes out. As for Michael Self, things would get worse. With 50 laps to go, Michael Self would crash in turn 3 with Chris Wright in it as well. I'm not sure what happened because Map TV never showed the replay, so thanks Map TV. Michael Self would finish in a disappointing 6th place, but would have a single point lead ahead of Brett Holmes after Brett Holmes finished in 2nd, continuing to lose more points. Another race, another struggle from Michael Self after finishing in 7th, while Brett Holmes finished in 4th at the 3rd Toledo race, which means Brett Holmes would finally take the point lead away from Michael Self. Michael Self would be 2 points behind Brett Holmes coming to the last great Coliseum at Bristol. Michael Self had some business to do and take back the point lead. Michael Self would lead the field back underway on lap 120. On lap 122, Michael Self would get passed by Max McLaughlin and would get sideways, entering the front stretch, and his right rear quarter panel suffered damage, dropping back like a rock. It looked like Michael Self would lose even more points with a bad result, but thanks to a bunch of cautions, Michael Self would redeem himself and finish in 5th place, leaving Thunder Valley as the point leader once again, by 1 ahead of Brett Holmes, who finished in 8th. In Winchester, we would see Michael Self and Brett Holmes battle for 2nd, which was a very exciting battle, but with 39 laps to go, Brett Holmes would go down on Michael Self in turn 3, make contact with Michael Self and saved it. Michael Self would finish in 2nd and Brett Holmes would finish in 3rd, but Michael would continue to hold on to the point lead by 3 points. In Memphis, Michael Self would once again lose the lead after finishing in 6th by 2 points after Brett Holmes, who dominated the race by leading 135 laps, finished in 3rd. Springfield was full of championship implications once again. Michael Self would self-spin in turn 4 with 49 laps to go, but oh boy, 3 laps to go, the battle of the championship would be a big dust-up.
They stand on it off of 4. Contact between the 20 of Heim and the 24 of Unzicker.
Holmes is going around. Holy cow!
Brett Holmes, the point leader, spins at Springfield, and Michael Self goes along with him.
So desperately did they want to get position on the inside rail behind Unzicker. It cost them this. It cost them nearly everything. Brett Holmes spinning around, trying to get traction, moving up the racetrack as he was not able to hold that bottom rail in the 2nd row inside.
And the wild card in all of this was Corey Heim. We'll be taking a look at this in just a second. But there sits the Illinois Truck and Equipment number 25 for Michael Self. Completely broken on the front end. 3 laps shy of the checkered flag. So while Brett Holmes was also involved, he escapes almost unscathed, while the 2nd place points man, Michael Self, has all sorts of trouble. Let's take a look at the Auto Park It replay of what happened, and I think you're going to see it was triggered by the 20 of Corey Heim. There's the contact between he and Unzicker, and then Heim gets into turn 1 really hot. Watch him get sideways, and the rest is history.
Brett Holmes right front, though, might have nicked Heim's car, because why would he go around otherwise, Bob? This is crazy out. It all converged here in turn number 1. I want to say that was Heim getting sideways, Brett Holmes maybe even overcooking the entry into turn 1. One little ding on the right front tire of Holmes sent him around, and that's what caused further dilemmas for the rest of these field.
A chain reaction took place in turn 1 involving championship contenders Brett Holmes, the point leader, Michael Self, who was 2 points behind Brett Holmes, and Corey Heim. Brett Holmes would pinch to the inside wall in the entrance of turn 1, bounce on Corey Heim, collecting Michael Self, and Taylor Gray avoiding a crash. Michael Self would get the worst of it by having more damage, DNFing and finishing in 9th. Brett Holmes would get away with the accident and finish in third. Leaving Springfield and coming into the season finale at the second Kansas race, Michael Self would be 8 points behind Brett Holmes. Despite a clean race, Michael Self would once again be the bridesmaid for the second year in a row, as Brett Holmes would win the 2020 ARCA Menard Series Championship, beating Michael Self by 12 points. Despite yet another heartbreaking championship loss, Michael Self had another strong year in ARCA. His 2020 stats look like this. Michael would score 2 wins, sweeping the Daytona races, 12 top 5s, 19 top 10s, 1 pole, and an average of 5.2. The 2020 ARCA Menard Series was his final year racing in ARCA. During his time in ARCA since 2014, Michael Self competed in 59 races, scoring 9 wins, 37 top 5s, 45 top 10s, 6 poles, and an average of 7.0. After ARCA, Michael Self would race in the TransAmSeries and the TA2 series. Michael Self was the team mentor for Mike Cope Racing and even made a start in 2020. In 2021, Sinclair would sponsor Michael Self for his Silver Hair Racing and was also a general manager for the team, racing for 9 races, scoring 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. And just like that, Michael Self's racing career was over. As of the making of this episode, Michael Self owns a flooring business company and is a father of 2 kids. Despite the lack of car count and some lack of competition and also dominance of Venturini Motorsports at the time, Michael Self, even before he raced in ARCA full-time, proved he was a very talented and a race-winning contender and even a championship threat. Despite losing a championship in his 2 full-time seasons, he was shown he was capable of getting it done. However, due to his mishaps, points penalties, crashes, mechanical failures, and some losses of his own, Michael Self never crowned himself as an ARCA champion. But regardless, Michael Self was one hell of a driver who drove in a fan-favorite iconic Sinclair Dinosaur car. It's rare to see drivers with actual talent get financial support in stock car racing these days, but Sinclair believed in him since the 2016 Kansas race, supporting him each year with more part-time races until Sinclair financially supported him for 2 full-time seasons, scoring victories and contended for the wins and championships. Will we ever see Michael racing anything again? I'm not sure, but time will tell. But man, I do miss seeing that beautiful green Dyna go on track. Michael Self was an example of an ARCA driver who has talent, who had the loyal sponsor in the world of racing when money is everything, but it takes a sponsor to support the right driver, and Michael Self was that right driver. So that's going to do it for another episode of Racing Stories. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. This is Ian the Motorsports Man signing off. Goodbye, everybody.